We had a girl, Kolkata red light area, and her mother was separated. Mother was a worker, and girl lived alone. The girl was regularly abused by the community fellows. She was a victim of trafficking. We intervened the issue. We rescued the girl with the help of stakeholders with the local police department. We rescued the girl. But then she got married again, the girl. At that time, the husband was totally abusive. We tried to provide education, all the supports to the girl. We provided her with nutrition so that she can understand her rights. We provided her mental health counseling, but nothing worked, And because of this continuous abusive marriage, like we were talking about marriage, why marriage is not important and divorce can happen. I will tell you, basically, the girl, one fine day, we got to know the girl, the husband.
As a girl, क्या आपको आपके राइट्स पता है? Well, इंडिया में कई सारे क्राइम्स होते हैं and one of the main reasons for all of that is that we are not aware of our rights. आज हम स्टैंड लेने से डरते हैं. आज हम गलत के अगेंस्ट स्टैंड अप करने से डरते हैं. ऐसा क्यों? लैक ऑफ अवेयरनेस, लैक ऑफ स्ट्रेंथ. वेल, आज के पॉडकास्ट में हमारे पास एक एग्जाम्पल आ रही है ऑफ स्ट्रेंथ, ऑफ रेजिलेंस, जिन्होंने बदलाव लाया है. शी हैज चेंज्ड, शी हैज ट्रांसफॉर्म्ड many lives. तो चलिए आज बात करते हैं with Durba Bannerjee. She is a social activist and we are here to learn a lot from her. Hi Durba ma'am. I'm
Hi,
honored.
Sandy.
I'm honored genuinely. Like आपको देख के ना मेरे को who's that actress from Arya?
Sushmita.
Shushmita Sen, ma'am. You are exactly, you're giving
my
me Shushmita
gosh.
Sen vibes because
That's
you are
wonderful.
yes,
Thank you.
like a strong-headed woman. कोई मतलब ऐसे नहीं आ सकता ना. You have that strong aura and I feel that's the future, that's the present and that's how women should be in today's society because बहुत साल हो गए यार, बहुत सारे mindset different रहे. So ma'am, since when did you feel it within you? What was that incident कि यार ये गलत हो रहा है, I need to fight against it? क्या था वो?
So are you asking me to talk about a specific incidents or the journey, entire journey?
Any specific, वो पहली क्या चीज थी जो आपको देख के लगा कि नहीं यार मैं एक दिन ऐसे चेंज करूंगी? What was that incident?
No, then I would like to mention a bit of my personal story because I had a good academic career. I was into teaching. I was very happy with my career, but then we have other side of life. So naturally, after marriage, I wanted to have a child, but that was not easy for me, and I had to go through a series of in vitro procedures. And finally, I was able to conceive our first child, but incidentally, I lost the child. So that was very much painful. That was huge. It costed a lot for me. And then I went into chronic depression for 2 long treacherous years. And after that, when I finally decided to join back my work life, I got a fantastic opportunity to work with an anthropometric project governed by UNICEF and Population Council. And that was kind of game-changing because for that project, we all as a team, we went to Darjeeling for more than a month, and we stayed there. We stayed over there, and first time I got the opportunity to work with the community for the community directly. Back in the mind, I always used to feel that I'm a failure and I have lost my everything. The first time I had that realization, I live in a metro city. I have all the privileges. I mingle with the cream of the society. Even if I had to face social stigmas for not having a biological child. So I had that realization that if I had to face these things, then what would be the scenario for the community women we were working with? So that was not easy. I started to handhold these women, these girls, and I came to know their suffering, their journey up close from them. That changed my perspective. I decided to work more and more with the communities, with these communities, for the communities.
Wow. Wow. And ma'am, आप आज भी do you go to villages and you
Yeah.
go to different places?
Yeah, every month, almost every month.
कोई mindset में difference है यहाँ पे and village में definitely होगा. What is that mindset difference which you observe more in the
Yeah,
villages?
बहुत सारा differences है, you know. I mean, we know patriarchy is there in our society, but that's much more prevailing in the rural areas. And so because of this patriarchy, girls are not comfortable. They are bound by many of the rules, and they always face not only gender discrimination, I would say. They face in rural areas, most of the girls, they face serious kind of gender-based violence. So we need to talk more of mindset. We need to change this mindset ruled by the patriarchy.
Ma'am, whenever you go to rural areas, do you also see any wrong practices still going on? For example, sati or child marriage or any such practice are they still going on?
Yes, child marriage is there. Child marriage is a huge problem in all the rural belt in India, in Nepal, in Bangladesh. So whenever we work with the girls, we try to keep in mind that child protection is the main agenda, and these girls, they do not succumb to any pressure, any kind of violence or child marriage. They do not become susceptible to child trafficking or sex trafficking. That's another problem we usually face every time when we are in the rural area, in the villages.
So, ma'am, actual में ना मतलब I have a cousin sister. And एक बार क्या हुआ था, she faced a guy was trying to be very rude to her. He was trying to touch her in inappropriate places. And she was in an auto. वो I think 20 minutes का journey था, and वो आदमी continuously he was trying to do something, and she did not have the guts to say
She did
anything.
not protest.
Or to protest or to do anything, and this happened like few years ago. And later she comes home, she cries, and then she tells it. She calls me up, she tells it to me. क्यों है मैम ऐसा अभी भी क्यों, मतलब मेरी own like cousin sister, and I was like कि bro, we are educated, we could have taken a protest आराम से, क्यों नहीं कर पा रहे मैम?
Yeah, because girls, they don't know how to raise their voice, and we still believe, most of us still believe that child sexual abuse is a myth. It doesn't happen. But that's not the reality. So when you come to know the reality, then of course reality bites. That's why we have to work more on the issues. We have to promote more awareness. We have to raise awareness on these issues. We have to talk with the girls. We have to talk about education and, of course, and good touch, bad touch. These things happen these days. But, still it's not easy for a girl to speak of her uncomfortable journey and her challenges. It's not easy for her.
Have you visited schools and have you tried empowering knowledge?
Yeah, of course. We regularly do, school programs, especially with the girls. And what we've seen that girls, even in Kolkata, in metro cities, in high-end schools, we have experienced this thing that you were just mentioning, that girls, they have huge experiences. And situation is very grave. They have used experiences regarding even in the family, but
Right.
they don't open up. In the name of family honor, they're restricted to speak about their challenges, and rather they're asked to just to keep shut their tongue. So what we did a session with the girls. We tried to make them understand of the facts and the reality, and they should understand that and they should not be frightened of the issue, and they should speak about their journey, their challenges. And we created a Dropbox for them. And you won't believe, we had more than 500 complaint letters.
Wow. So change हुआ.
Yeah.
Some change actually
Complaint
happened.
letters, and then change nahi hua. Then we had to arrange for counseling session for the girls. But sometimes even the school is not very much cooperative.
मैम मैं एक फ्रेंड की स्टोरी सुनाता हूँ. शी एज यू सेड कि फैमिली में भी होता है.
हाँ,
तो she had a cousin brother and he was like 10 years elder to her when she was 10 years old or something, and something happened which should have not happened, and she is till date traumatized for life, not only because that happened but because फैमिली के जो एल्डर मेंबर्स है, फैमिली के जो दादी, इवन अ फीमेल दादी, शी वाज प्रोटेस्टिंग टू नॉट हैव एनी कंप्लेंट्स, टू नॉट गो फॉर एनी कंप्लेंट्स कि बच्चे का लाइफ बर्बाद हो जाएगा, सो प्लीज डोंट डू इट. अब पुराने ज़माने में अगर जाते हैं, ये डेफिनेटली पहले भी होता था, वी ऑल नो अबाउट इट, बट पहले का क्या माइंडसेट अलग था. क्योंकि इवन फीमेल्स ऑफ ओल्डर टाइम्स, the dadi was like कि नहीं, मेरा बच्चे का लाइफ खराब हो जाएगा, you cannot take an action, and nothing has happened till date. So is it a mindset change which is happening right now, or is it maybe due to social media? What do you think that right now things are changing?
Of course there's a little bit change in the mindset, but again coming back to your point, I would say one thing. I don't know what was the level of the crime or violence problem, whatever you say, but if that was, then there was a huge taboo even within the family. दादी कहते हैं लड़की को कि तुम्हारी जिंदगी खराब हो गई, बर्बाद हो गए तुम, अगर ये बाद में जाके कहोगे तो शादी नहीं होगी, कोई नहीं रहेगा तुम्हारे साथ, you will not even get a match.
Correct.
Perfect imperfect छोड़ दो, you will not get a match.
That's
you will
what
not get anyone in your life. Better you just keep shut. So this is not the scenario right now, I can tell you. Not in the metro cities. There is the ray of hope that even in the villages, when we talk with the community people, some of the mothers, they are very proactive. Because, they relate these things to their journeys, not only for the daughters. They relate it to her journey, to her experience, her suffering. And then they come up and they tell us that, Didi, you support my child. बात करो उनसे, उनको समझाओ ऐसा हुआ है. I don't want her to suffer like me. Because I had to suffer. No one was there to support me. Rather, like you were saying, the entire family was against me so that I cannot lodge any complaint. It's not the scenario right now. You were there, I am here, I'm her mother. I want her to lodge the complaint right now. And you support her. You support the cause. You do something. So there's a change in the perspective. There's a change in the mindset. And that matters.
Definitely.
That is actually important.
And ma'am, आपने जब, because you've been working in this field for so long, आपने आपके आंखों के सामने अलग अलग चीज़ों को चेंज होते हुए देखा है. Now when we are talking about the female gender, definitely education is important. It is important कि वो अपने rights को जाने. आधे लोग तो rights को जानते ही नहीं है, and which is a sad part, because if you know your rights, then definitely you'll have more confidence to stand up.
Yeah.
But do you also think that males and even men need a lot of education in this aspect? Like, for example, I'll give a very basic example. In my theatre class, we were taught how to hug. So there are girls who are not comfortable with hugging. So we were told ki, okay, you should not hug like this. Then you can hold your hands and then give a hug so that they feel more comfortable. So do you think men should also be given some kind of knowledge or training so that they understand their boundaries?
Of course, I would say sensitizing men is very important. Because without their support, you cannot change the perspective. And when we are talking about men, not only hugging each other or your partner, they are not even comfortable hugging the mother.
Right.
We observe this during our gender session, that men, they are not comfortable in rural areas hugging the mother. We ask them, when did you hug your mother last time? They said, no, I don't remember. So it's very important to sensitize the men as well. So education is there, not only men, women, all the sectors, all the people, they should have basic education. Education is the right. But sensitizing the people is most important on the issues, on their rights. Unfortunately, we as a rights activist, I work with the communities where most of the people either they're not aware of their rights or they're hugely deprived. So it becomes more imperative and important to make them understand, make them aware of the gap between what is happening and what should happen. That is important. And for that, we need to sensitize all the group of people, especially men, of course, men.
मैम प्रॉब्लम क्या है ना, अभी मेन सेंसिटिव हो जाते हैं. मैं मजाक के तौर पे नहीं, लाइक आई एम अ सेंसिटिव गाय, ठीक है. And when I become a sensitive guy, I'm not that macho, animal, alpha. You know, Ranbir Kapoor is in trend. Animal movie is in
No,
trend.
you don't need to be. You
ठीक है.
don't need to be.
But मैम फिर हम लोग को then men, those who are sensitive, first of all, they are not considered manly. क्यों पता नहीं. मैं अगर
That's a huge gender issue. We often talk about this thing. I mean, this is the idea that men have to be strong. They cannot cry. They cannot be emotional. And these are the duties for the girls and women. So how do you decide? How do you define? How do you discriminate? This is basically the root causes. This is basically gender discrimination. Rights are same for all the people. Constitution, Indian Constitution is same for all of our citizens, right? So how would you discriminate when it comes to emotions, when it comes to your body language, when it comes to your right?
Right. Ma'am, the question of the hour. Have you seen the movie Animal?
Answer is no. Capital N, capital O. I tried to watch the movie few days back, but I could not finish, honestly.
क्या खराब लगा आपको उस मूवी में?
Yeah, obviously the toxic masculinity they try to portray. That's not done. I mean, that's not something macho. That's not something you can be all praise about this thing. Because when you talk of men, we always think that men, that's their duty to be stronger. That's their duty to protect their emotions. They cannot they cannot exhibit their emotions. They cannot cry. They cannot be softer. And this is the duty for the girl and women. I strongly oppose the idea. These are the root causes of gender discrimination. These are the gender stereotyping. You cannot stereotype a person. You cannot stereotype a person, a man, just because he's a man, he needs to be strong. He needs to be angry all the time. He needs to be rough and tough macho. No. Why? You can be yourself. A softer person or maybe you are a strong one. But that depends on you. You cannot stereotype a person.
Ma'am, last time when I cried in front of my ex, she used the word लड़कियों की तरह क्यों रो रहा है?
Yeah.
ठीक है, लड़की है क्या? And
see, these are the nuances of patriarchy. Patriarchy taught you that you cannot cry, and patriarchy taught also that girl that you can ask this question. Because many a times we've seen that women are more patriarchal than men. Take it from me, women are more patriarchal.
how please, I want to know more about this.
Yeah, I mean, like you explained, you told me about the story of Dadi. Or many a times when girls get married and in-laws and the mother-in-law or sister-in-law, they create problems. They try to get the control over their relationship. So she's not in a position to decide what to do, what to not to do after the marriage. So mother-in-law will decide everything for her,
right,
on her behalf. So this is patriarchy. This is sheer patriarchy. And she is much more patriarchal than any man.
So एक toxic feminism भी एक word होगा, I guess. Like, is it there? Toxic femininity, does that exist then?
We don't say that because mostly girls and women, they are abused and they are the weaker version, we believe. Though I don't typically wish to believe that, but that's a reality, especially in our country. So, of course, but toxic ideology, toxic feminism, I would not say. Feminism is not toxic, but toxic ideology in women that exists.
That does exist. Now, have you ever heard Andrew Tate? Have you ever seen any of his videos? So he is a guy. He always talks against women, and he always represents man as, you know, the superior creature, and he backs it with logic as well. For example, physically, I'm just giving you an example. He said that the fastest runner, if a man completes a race in 10 seconds, that's the fastest. For a woman, it was 13 seconds. So physically, if men are stronger, which is a fact, so doesn't that put men into the superior category?
No, that's just the physiology, human physiology, that men are bodily, they are stronger, they look stronger. Many of men are not. I can give you example. They're not. So that just doesn't, legitimize this idea that men are stronger. And you mentioned about the person and video. I did not watch, but I believe this is a typical example of misogyny. And misogyny is not a myth. This is reality. Misogyny exists. And who champion misogyny, they will try to support and establish that the men are stronger, men are superior.
When we are talking in depth about human rights as well, so in human rights, a lot of rights are there which human are not aware of, which we are not aware of. Even after having so many rights, why is it that people are not taking stands, or why is it that it's still happening? क्यों अभी भी ये rights follow नहीं हो रहे? Like for example, trafficking is still happening. मुझे नहीं पता था मैम, the place where I stay वहाँ से 13 kilometers away, which is very close for me. Recently we got to know that 4 girls were kidnapped, and it was in the news and everything. So अभी भी हो रहा है, and tech and everything, it's still happening. How, ma'am? Why?
Yes, root causes are there. Forced labor is there, and lack of awareness is there. Resource poor people are there. Dysfunctional families are there. Divorced parents, and of course, poverty is there. These causes promote trafficking. And probably the most exploitative form of violation of human rights.
Right.
So it exists still because people are in need, and vulnerable families, resource poor families, they've been constantly lured with fake marriages and with offers of better livelihood options. So root causes, whenever root causes exist, and causes would promote the demand market, the supply chain. And it's very difficult to break this nexus, because there are connections within the community, people within the community, with the people, with their people, with the traffickers. There are other nexus. There are these channels are very conducive. And sometimes even we've seen that there are pan-international, transnational channels for that channels promote, and then it becomes more difficult to get hold of the because then it is outside the purview of state judiciary.
Poverty, definitely, it even parents often, I've read on news that even parents have, due to poverty, have led their child to child. What are the other causes, and if you can put more light on what are the other causes for child?
See, it was the actual situation after the COVID pandemic. In some areas, we observed that the resource poor families, they started selling their own children. That was due to COVID pandemic, but the struggle continues. Because if they are resource poor, they need money, they need their resource, they need a livelihood option. So they easily got it that if a pimp is there in the village, if traffickers are there in the form of community people, in the form of friends. Basically, most of these traffickers, they approach the families, the poor families, they become friends. Or they propose, they come with the proposal of fake marriages. Then when they take the children, especially the girl children, from the families. Then they sell off these girls to outside, and these girls eventually they land up in
Have you ever spoken to any child who has been subjected to child trafficking before?
yeah. Only last week, I went to the Bangladesh border because we have a very porous border, and I met a survivor, a girl, a 14 years girl, who was picked to a destination, and now she is rescued, and she was with the CWC home. Now she is back within the family, and but I mean, she's depressed, and reintegration is another huge problem. After being a girl is being rescued, after she comes back from the destination with the help of stakeholder, with the help of government, then reintegration and rehabilitation within the family, within the community, it's a bigger challenge, even bigger challenge, because stigmas, taboos are there, and community people, they always judge the girl, they always judge the family's intention, and there are chances of because if the girl suffers every time, every day, then she thinks it was better, it might be better again
To go there.
to go there to earn money. Then I can support myself, I can support my family. At least they will not be resource poor state.
So mentally, it disturbs the child a lot.
Mentally, I mean, most of these girl survivors, they're so depressed, and they're so traumatized, they don't even think of having a normal life again. They don't want to join back to schools. They don't want to play with the friends. We always try to enroll them back to the education system, to the schools. And we introduce the survivor with another group of survivors. Like she can feel comfortable with others when she gets to know that there are other girls like me who survived this process. Then she opens up, then she feels a little bit better. But it's a huge challenge. It's not easy.
It is.
It's
And
not easy to get back the life to a proper normal life. It's very difficult, I can tell you. It's very difficult.
till date, with your experience, how many people have you impacted? What do you think? How many people have you impacted?
Number, I would not say. I mean, it's a huge number. If I talk about our interventions and our number of beneficiaries, our reach, then it's a lot, because we run a number of programs for prevention of child trafficking, for prevention of child marriage, for providing educational support to the rural area children and marginalized children, tribal children. So number is huge, but number doesn't matter always. You can quantify your output, but
Right.
you cannot measure the outcome. That is important. Not only the numbers. Numbers do not always tell you the truth.
Just a few minutes ago, you mentioned that some of these children, they often feel like going back to that old life.
Yeah. Many
Now,
a times, many girls,
so
they
go back,
go back.
and because they're not accepted in the society as a
They're
normal.
oppressed. They're not accepted in the society. They're not well treated by the family.
They're not well treated by their own family. Now, ma'am, when we look into the whole world scenario, there are places, as we have heard, as we have seen in places like Bangkok, where there's open, which is legal there, and there are willful workers there.
Yeah.
So, being a person who's working in this industry against, fighting for human rights, firstly, what are your views? Is is a good thing or a bad thing? If somebody is earning their livelihood via that workers, is it good or bad? And what are the negative impacts or positive impacts of?
See, I'm not going to judge the intention why a girl is into and you have to ask that person if she is happy with her life. But of course, I would not say that we can easily legalize the process, because if you legalize the as a livelihood option, then can you accept that?
So, ma'am, in Kamathipura, as you were saying that things are really not in the way they're supposed to be.
Yeah.
What are your views?
Yeah, of course, you cannot support the girls to be there. You cannot ask them to be there just because they are earning a lot of money. Because as I mentioned earlier, that the and this profession, I believe, is the most exploitative form of violation of human rights. So we cannot have our girls to be there just because families are resource poor and they're earning money, they're supporting the families and they're building up their future. It's not like that. They're not building up their future. They're ruining their future.
I have one personal story to share. So, since college first year, I always fancied to go to a massage parlor. I don't know why, but I just wanted to. And there was a massage parlor like 1.5 kilometers away from my house. I went there and I realized that it's a whole different environment there. What I was expecting, it's not that. There is proper prostitution going on 1.5
Yes.
kilometers away from my
Yes.
house.
Yeah.
There are more than 20 parlors there. And not only there, then later I realized I spoke to some of the managers there and they said it's there everywhere. 80% of the massage parlors uh, are having something going on, and that's the reason why massage parlors are not considered to be a great place till now. Like people have a taboo against them. Ma'am, police is there. There is a police station just next to a massage parlor. How is it going on? Kaise ho raha, ma'am?
Because people from all the layers of the society, they are the client. You cannot even exclude the group of stakeholders. They are the client. So that's a huge challenge. And I tell you one personal story. We used to walk in the red light areas in Kolkata. So we once we created an opportunity for some of the girls from the red light areas so that they can have beautician training. That was a good livelihood option, we thought, and girls also agreed to join. They did the course, they were placed, they get the opportunities, they get the job. Then one day I met a girl from that community, from that group. She left the job.
Okay.
But she was looking perfectly all right with her makeup and everything, and she was doing fine. So I asked her particularly, firstly, how do you continue? How do you survive? And why did you leave the job? She asked, they are paying me just 10,000 per month. And if I go to a massage parlor, then per shot, you know what I mean, per shot, I will get 5,000. And I'll go for 3 to 5 shots every day. So you think of my earning. I will enjoy that.
And that is...
So again, there's the mindset. She doesn't understand that her rights are violated and this is totally against the human rights and she will get STDs like syphilis, HIV. We also worked with HIV people. She doesn't understand these nuances.
Ma'am, after talking to you, I think everyone should have this knowledge.
Yeah.
And
you have to create more awareness.
We definitely need more awareness.
More awareness and more sensitization of all the people in all the layers. There's a mindset again. This is again related to mindset that we think that child marriage and these things, these problems particularly prevail in the rural areas, in the village sector of our society. That's not true. Even we face child marriage cases in Kolkata, in metro cities, in many of the families. And is everywhere. West Bengal and Kolkata is considered to be an important hub.
Ma'am, marriage is a very sacred thing in India. We know, and
because we still believe in marriage institution.
We do. And I don't feel it's there's nothing wrong or right in it.
Yeah, I'm not judging. I'm just saying that it still exists.
It does. But what we've observed, we've seen that in India, the divorce rate has gone extremely high since the last few years. And do you think that it was a taboo? Divorce was a taboo and it's slowly going away. Is it more? Because previously, men used to suffer less after a divorce, but women used to suffer more. Now, women are fearless If they are unhappy in a marriage, if it's a toxic marriage, they are strong enough to let go. What do you think has changed?
Again, I can see a change in the mindset, of course, because taboo is still there, I would say, but women, they don't fear to accept it. They accept it and they just overcome the taboos, and they believe that if a man can sustain, if a man can survive a divorce, then she can also survive the same situation, because it's not always recommended to sustain an abusive marriage. Rather, it's always recommended to overcome and part ways. So I believe we need to explore more the feminist ideology, because many a times people believe that feminism is against men, but there's nothing against men. That's a wrong idea. Feminism, rather, it is against the patriarchy, against the patriarchal norms and gender stereotyping that prevails in the society. That causes oppression.
Ma'am, how many years have you been in this field?
More than 15 years actively now.
I would love to hear one experience of yours, and because something which is insightful, if you have something to share.
Yeah, of course, I would like to share one or two stories, probably, because dark sides are there also,
Right.
and we have positive stories as well. So I will start with the darker one. We had a girl in a Kolkata red light area, and her mother was separated. Mother was, and girl lived alone with a dysfunctional parent, single parent, with her father. And when the father got married again, the girl was regularly abused by the, community fellows. So obviously, that girl, she was a victim of. We intervened the issue. We rescued the girl with the help of stakeholders, with the local police department. We rescued the girl. But then, of course, she had desires. She got married again, the girl. And that time, the husband was totally abusive. We tried to provide education, all the supports to the girl. We provided her with nutrition so that she can understand her rights. We provided her mental health counseling, but nothing worked, And because of this continuous abusive marriage, like we were talking about marriage, why marriage is not important and divorce can happen. I will tell you, basically, the girl, one fine day, we got to know the girl, the husband. She's in jail now. She's under trial.
Okay.
We still are in touch with the girl. We have been trying to provide her legal support and all other assistance. But that's not everything. We try to do our best, but we're not successful all the time.
Correct.
We have these failure stories as well, along with the success stories.
Ma'am, now something for our listeners, for our viewers. If somebody in the society is in 2-3 scenarios. One, if a girl is facing public humiliation, what can she do? Second, in marriage, if somebody is going through marital, for example, what can she do? And in third, if somebody is going through a very abusive relationship or very abusive work environment, what are the actions, what are the steps, if you would like to enlighten, what
Yeah.
are the processes one can follow?
Again, there is a huge lack of information, lack
Right.
of awareness, I would say, because in every case you mentioned, for public harassment, if the girl is a minor, then of course she will get huge support from the system, from the stakeholders, because the case goes strictly under POCSO law. And if it's a case of harassment at workplace, then we have POSH to save and protect our girls and women. And of course, we all know that if it's a marital rape or marital harassment after marriage, then you can easily go for 498. So laws are there, but mindset is not there. Awareness is not there. We don't understand our rights. We don't want to raise voice for our rights.
And
Girls and women are always oppressed. So if you generate awareness, if you give them that courage that you can do, this is your life, this was not your life, then they will raise your voice.
दुर्बा जी, I want to correct myself. मैंने आपको पहले सुष्मिता सेन कहा था. But I want to correct myself. I don't think so I can call you Sushmita Sen. I should not call you Durba also. I should call you Durga.
I always prefer to be myself, you know.
But
I always try to be myself.
ma'am,
That was a compliment. Thank you for that.
It is a genuine compliment from my heart, and to all our viewers, that everyone should have that spark within. You should have that aura within. You should have that strength within, because as every man and every woman should have the Durga within to fight against the wrong, to know your rights, and to fight against whatever wrongs you're seeing around. And अगर आप जानते हो ना चीज़ें, तभी आप उसके ऊपर एक्शन ले सकते हो. So requesting everyone to spread as much awareness as you can. It is happening under our nose. There are few Durga Mas here in our nation, like Durba ji, who's working to fight against it. But अपन को एक्शन लेना है यार, अपन को उठना है. सोशल मीडिया पे आई रिक्वेस्ट एवरीवन टू स्प्रेड एज मच अवेयरनेस एज यू कैन, especially about the rights. Do a bit of research, because if you today try to take a stand, if you today try to change things, it will change. Things will stop. We will live in a more peaceful world. Thank you so much.